Welcome to the 5-Pack, where we talk about the 5 things that matter, 5 things that will matter, and a daily pack rip. Here is your host, Kyle Elfrink.
Welcome back. It is the 5-Pack here on the Better Sports Network. Kyle Elfrink hanging out with you on this Tuesday. Hope everyone is doing well out in live streaming land. Good to have you with us here. Good to have our producer, Heather Klein. And good to be talking sports. That is always the go-to in my life is, hey, everything else is going on in the world. You know, the weather sucks. The car doesn't work anymore. But every day for an hour, right here on BSN, I get to talk sports with you. As always, we invite you to give us any of your thoughts going into the new sports day. Maybe thoughts on what went down last night, maybe predictions for tonight. You can always chat us up in that room. If you are new to us, A, where have you been? But B, here's what we do, a one-stop shop for everything that you, the sports fan, needs to know. I get it. I understand everybody's running around. You can't watch everything. You can't follow it. You just need to know, Kyle, what's important? Tell me what I need to know. Well, we're going to do that today on the 5-Pack. 5 things that matter right now, 5 things that will matter later this evening, and of course, the ever popular pack rip, which today is a little bit unique. We've been doing this for a couple of months now, and most every day we've hit you with baseball. After all, it's baseball season. Today, that changes. Oh, today, things are going to be different around these parts. NFL OTAs have started this week. We had, 20 teams fired up OTAs yesterday. We'll have another 10 today, and then a couple of laggards wait to get going with their OTAs tomorrow. Now, these are optional. These are volunteer efforts by the players. They don't have to be there. So, like, DeAndre Hopkins isn't there this week for the Cardinals. Doesn't mean a whole heck of a lot. Sure, you'd like him to be there, but, hey, it's optional. It's voluntary. So that's what's going on this week. In honor of OTAs, we're going to hit you with some football today. And yesterday on the show, we did 88 score baseball. Now, most people, when they think of score trading cards, they do think of baseball, but 1990 score football will get a little love today. This is not the big score set. I think it was 89, the first year of score football. And I recall this very well. That 89 score football set had a great NFL draft class. You had Troy Aikman, you had Deion Sanders, I think Barry Sanders. I mean, it was a great group of rookie cards in that 89 score set. And in 1989, now this is ancient history, we had 2 new football sets debut. We had Pro Set, and then we had Score. And the expectation, if memory serves correct, and again, this is over 30 years ago, but I remember as a child, it was considered that Pro Set was the set to go after. That kind of had the NFL backing, if you will. And Score was seen as, okay, it's a first-year set, but Pro Set's the one you want. They're the new kid, the real new kid in town. Well, it ended up being that 89 Score was actually the more valuable set. 89 Score to this day still has some very valuable cards. This is year number 2 of Score. Now, obviously, the fact that I can pretty well score this pack on the net for $1.25 kind of indicates, I guess it's about $1.50 for this pack of cards. Kind of indicates that there's not a whole lot of must-haves in this 1990 score set, but we're going to have fun with it. You see on the front, Kansas City Chiefs against Denver Broncos. I give it up for this. I can't really recall. I'm going to live this with you. I can't really recall what these cards look like, but I can say this. The pack's pretty interesting. Like, they put some effort into the pack. So considering most people just throw that stuff away as soon as they open it, maybe the cards are going to be nice too. So we'll get to that coming up to conclude today's 5-Pack. We begin, though, with the 5 things that do matter right now on a Tuesday morning / afternoon. And we start with the NBA Western Conference Finals, where already we've got one of our NBA final teams set. It took only 4 games for the Denver Nuggets to dispatch the LA Lakers. That's right, a sweep. And congrats to the Nuggets for the first time in, I think it's 47 years as a franchise. They will be participating in the NBA Finals. Last night they win at 113 to 111 on the road in Los Angeles. And it was a very entertaining game. Let's go to the highlights. We'll start with the Lakers, who came out really strong. They did not show quit last night, and LeBron James was a big part of that early effort.
5 on the shot clock. Back up top, James. Three-pointer. It's good. 18 first quarter points for LeBron James, and a lead back up to 7.
We've seen that play be so effective, clearing the side and allow Jamal Murray to have an ISO.
James sets, fires, connects. 21 here in the first quarter. Murray again with Thompson on him, trying to thread the needle, stolen by James. James to Thompson, goes up and throws it down.
No secondary help. That's going to be a hard one-on-one matchup for Tristan Thompson.
James goes right at Jokic and finishes 9 of 11 from the field.
Great start for the Lakers and for LeBron. Great finish for LeBron, too. 40 points, 10 boards, and 9 assists. He is the oldest player in NBA playoff history to score at least 40 points. The oldest! So give him another record on this Tuesday. But it was not enough. The Nuggets kept hanging around, and eventually in the fourth quarter, they took the lead.
Kick misses, second one no good. And Caldwell Pope comes away. Back door, Caldwell Pope layup. This time he banks it in on a foul. And the Nuggets have their first lead of the game. Donovan Davis looking to help. Shot clock at 4. Jokic has to put it up. Falling away, puts it up. Bang! Nikola Jokic knocks it down. His foot was on the line. A two-pointer. What a shot.
You got to be kidding me, right? The Joker with a joke of a jumper. That gave Denver a 5-point lead late. We should note Nikola Jokic, just so you know, has already set an NBA playoff record for the number of triple-doubles in a single playoff year. He had another one last night, by the way. It's just crazy. So the Nuggets are up, but Lakers still had a chance. Down by 2 with the ball.
The inbounder. Reeves holding. James comes out of the pack. James on the drive, goes inside, stop, shot block, gets it back. It's over. It's over. Denver makes history. The Nuggets are going to the NBA Finals for the first time in franchise history.
Can I just say, for everyone who says the NBA is totally rigged, if so, how does LeBron not get a call there? Right? Wouldn't you expect LeBron to get the call? Isn't that what everybody moans about with the stars? Like, get all the calls. Silence from the conspiracy theorist here today. LeBron James coming up short. Nikola Jokic not coming up short. The Nuggets with that win, and you see all the footage there courtesy of ESPN. Nuggets now get a week off before the NBA Finals. So what is it, like next Tuesday, next Wednesday? It's a long time off. Man, that rest is critical. And we're going to talk about this later. But tonight, the Miami Heat have a chance to sweep the Celtics. They could get that long rest too. So it's very rare that you could see two teams arriving at the NBA Finals and both of them are like taking a week off leading to the NBA Finals. One other thing following this sweep, LeBron James. Mentioned the effort, over 40 points. Oldest guy ever to score 40 in a playoff game. A lot of people talking about the way he ended his post-game press conference. You know, he did the usual circus and dance. And then at the end, let me just read this quote. Here's LeBron James. But we'll see. We'll see what happens going forward. I don't know. I've got a lot to think about, to be honest. Just for me personally, going forward with the game of basketball, I've got a lot to think about. So people are wondering, is this the I find this incredibly far-fetched. I was talking with Heather Klein, our producer, before the program here. You just scored 40 points. You just got your team to the Western Conference Finals. You just had a great run. I mean, a month and a half ago, people would have laughed you out of the building if you told them the Lakers were going to make the Western Conference Finals. Beyond that, for those who don't follow this, LeBron has a son. The son's name, Bronny, I think that's it, Bronny James, who is going to USC. He is not like the best player in his class, but he's a very good player. He's like top 50, top 60. So a very good high school player. He's going to USC, which is obviously just down the road from the Lakers' house. LeBron ain't leaving. He has talked time and time again that he wants to play with his son. It's never happened in NBA history. You might remember in Major League Baseball history, Ken Griffey Jr., Ken Griffey Sr., that happened. Never happened in the NBA. So that's like a goal of LeBron's. He probably has to stick around, 2 years, 3 years maybe for that to happen. And at the way he's playing, who says he can't? So he said what he said, but I would be shocked. There aren't many things that shocked me. I'd be shocked if that happened with LeBron. Let's move to our second item that matters today on the 5-pack. Let's go to the diamond where the red-hot Houston Astros kept the flame a-roaring last night, and they did it against Corbin Burnes, one of the best pitchers in baseball.
2-1 to Jolks. He smokes one into left field. This ball's all the way back and gone. That was a laser beam over the left field wall. Corey Jolks, in his first career bat against Corbin Burnes, sends one out.
That's awesome. And everybody.
Oh baby! Maldonado, welcome back. Maldi, who played here as a Brewer from 2011 to 2016. Relive some of those good memories as he crushes one into the second deck.
Whoops.
Oh, Mauricio gets into one.
Whoops.
He's looking for his first home run of the year, and he has it. Mauricio Dubon with his first home run of the season, hit 5 last year. Said he was going to stop swinging for home runs as much, but he found a pitch he liked there.
He did. He got a breaking ball and turned out and smoked it, but that's with all the progress he's made by hitting just line drives. He continued to hit line drives.
That ball smoked. You're done, bomb. I mean, out in a flash from the bat to the second deck in record time here in Milwaukee. It's now 5-1 on the Astros' 4th home run of the night.
That was a bullet.
That left the yard in a hurry. My goodness, Air Jordan.
Air Jordan is right. Corbin Burnes, yikes. 12-2. The Astros put a beating on the Brewers. That's 8 in a row for the Houston Astros. Thanks to AT&T Sportsnet there for the home run calls. Now, again, Houston's hot and big win last night. 8 in a row. They got off to a slow April. They're looking good right now. Looking like the Astros should. Corbin Burnes. Woo! Corbin Burnes gave up all 4 of those home runs. Corbin Burnes is about as average comes this year. He's 4-4. ERA's 4. The whip's about 1.25. Like, that's all really average. Furthermore, he's seen a 40% rate jump in home runs. Now, admittedly, last night got him to that jump. That was a bad outing in 5 innings. He gave up 4 home runs. But there's other things going on here, like his K rate. And remember, this is a Cy Young dude. Cy Young contender. His K rate from 10.8 of a year ago to 9.1 this season. I was looking at his innings. On average, his innings pitched per game, he's coming in at about 2 outs fewer per game. And every time you say 2 outs, who cares? But again, you multiply that over the course of all these starts and it adds up. It really adds up. I'll put it this way. Corbin Burnes has gotten an out in the 7th inning 1 time in his first 10 starts this year. Again, gotten an out in the 7th inning 1 time in his first 10 starts. Last season, when again, he was like a Cy Young level pitcher, his first 10 starts last year, he got outs in the 7th inning 6 times. So Milwaukee's got issues. They got injuries. Now they're still sitting in first place. Like if you go to DraftKings right now and you look at the odds, Milwaukee's still minus 135 to win the NL Central, but they got issues. I mean, the big problem in the big, I guess, boost for them in the Central is everybody else in the Central. But Milwaukee's got issues, and Corbin Burns is pitching. He's made every start, but he's not near to the level that he has been. Tonight, the Brewers and the Astros get going again. That is a 7:40 first pitch. Both these teams have had problems in the rotation. You see it tonight with the pitching matchup. J.P. France going for Houston against Colin Ray of the Milwaukee Brewers. Let's move to item number 3 of what matters today. Last night, the Boston Red Sox playing the LA Angels. And last night late, the game was tied at 1 when a former number 1 overall pick stepped to the dish for the Angels.
Spots this season.
He drives this ball deep to right. This one's going to go. The Angels have the lead, and it's Mickey Moniak with a leadoff home run in the 8th.
Boy, Mickey, you are so fine with that.
You are so fine, Mickey. Having the moment of his career thus far in Major League Baseball. And why is that important? Why does it matter? Mickey Moniak, to remind some of you, was the number 1 overall pick in 2016 by the Philadelphia Phillies. Now, to go back 7 years ago, we should note nobody looked at Mickey Moniak and said, wow, that is a can't miss number 1 pick. No one said that with Mickey Moniak, but still number 1 pick. He has been pretty well nothing since being that number 1 pick. Didn't really fly through the minors. Thus far in the majors, he'd done a little, like before this season, I'm looking at Mickey Moniak had played 66 baseball games at the majors. He'd hit 157 with 66 strikeouts and 167 plate appearances. He was no good. Philadelphia drafted him. Philadelphia got him to the majors. Philadelphia traded him to the Angels last year. Didn't do anything at the end of last year. Started in the minors this year. It looked like more of the same for Mickey Moniak. He came up and he's hitting leadoff. He's played 9 games for the Angels. He's hitting leadoff in every single one of them. You saw the home run there, courtesy of Bally Sports LA. Won the game last night. In those 9 games, Mickey Moniak has 6 extra base hits, 6 ribbies, 6 runs, 2 steals. He's got 3 home runs. Now, I will also tell you he's got 11 strikeouts in those 9 games. So the problem that Mickey Moniak has had, it's still there. It's absolutely still there. But last night was a good one, and just a reminder. And, hey, give him some applause, right? Mickey Moniak, you could have quit. You got a lot of money as a number 1 overall draft pick. A lot of signing bonus money. He could go to college. But no, he's still trying to stick and had a big hit last night. And again, hitting leadoff, I don't think there's anything long-term here. I don't. Of course, I said that about Brent Rooker last month, and all that guy's done is keep hitting home runs. But I think with Moniak, it's a hot streak. Nothing to get too excited about. Angels back in action tonight against the Red Sox. Brian Bayo against Griffin Canning. Let's move to item number 4 on what matters today. We got some news this morning that Austin Ekeler and the LA Chargers have agreed to a bit of a different contract. And why is this important? Why does it matter? Austin Ekeler requested a trade back in March. Austin Ekeler wants his money, and he wants it now. Now, he supposedly has been going through negotiations with the Bolts, but nothing's happening. So today we get news that Austin Ekeler and the LA Chargers have agreed to about $1.8 million in incentives for this season. Now, I doubt those incentives are going to be very difficult to reach. You know, the Chargers did not agree to just rip up the contract and give this guy a new one. They didn't want that. That's what Ekeler wants. And Eckler's been really good the last 2 years. But he knows how the NFL works. And this is how the NFL works. If you are a running back who's good, it doesn't matter. it doesn't. Look at free agency this year. You get like offensive guards, which are just lapping NFL running backs. They're making loads of money. There's nothing for guys like, and Ekeler's a stud. Like the last 2 years, Ekeler's been at the top of the heap when it comes to running back. But the Chargers and everybody else in football knows you don't have to pay these guys. You don't want to get stuck with a 5, 6, 7-year deal with these guys. Here's what Ekeler's up against. He signed a big extension in 2020. It's a 4-year deal. What was it here? $25 million. Good money, not great money, but very good money. And he signed that early in his rookie deal. So he said, I'll take the money now. Now he is looking at free agency following this season. There are 2 other guys in his class that were drafted in the same year as Ekeler. Both are good running backs. Alvin Kamara and Dalvin Cook. Now, those 2 players, Cook and Kamara, had a little more immediate success than Ekeler, and they also waited a bit longer to sign their extension. Those 2 guys are starting to show their age. Like Kamara and Cook haven't really been that great the last couple of years. We're hearing trade rumors involving Dalvin Cook. You know, Alvin Kamara is more receiver than runner now. But you know what? Those guys are still getting their money. Like I'm looking at Kamara. He's going to get $21 million the next 2 years. I'm looking at Dalvin Cook. He's signed through 25. He's got $40 million left on his 3-year deal. So these guys will probably be cut or traded at some point. They're not going to get all that money, but they're under contract. They get a lot of money. We don't have that with Ekeler. Ekeler's got this year, and then he's a free agent. When he goes into free agency next year, he will be, I think, 29 years old. He won't be young. He's trying to get his money now, but the Chargers are smart about this. They're not giving his money. So he could pout. He could hold out. But the way things are drawn up now, you don't gain anything by holding out. Like Ekeler wouldn't even get credit for this upcoming year if he didn't play it. And so he wouldn't be a free agent. So he should be happy with what he got. But this is another reminder. Like, what more could Austin Ekeler do? Nothing. Guy's been spectacular. But even Austin Ekeler can't get a new deal. He's going to have to go into free agency. And even if he has a good year, he's not killing it. He'll make good money. Okay, money I'd take. Money you'd take. But compared to quarterbacks, compared to tackles, hell, compared to guards, wide receivers, linebackers, Ekeler ain't pulling in the cash. He wanted it. He's not going to get it. He'll have to settle for the 1.8 in incentives this year. One final thing that matters today, it's a quick one, comes to us from the NFL. Yesterday, the NFL announced 2 things. First off, they announced that Super Bowl 60. Can you believe we're already to 60? I remember when it was Super Bowl 22. I'm getting old. Super Bowl 60, which is 3 Super Bowls from now, will be held in San Francisco, California. Although not really San Francisco. Santa Clara, California. You can see it there on the graphic. The San Francisco Bay Area. So San Francisco set to get Super Bowl 60. You might recall that they hosted Super Bowl 50. I really don't know why the San Francisco Bay Area is getting a second Super Bowl in like 10 years, but they are. So next year will be in Vegas. Super Bowl 59 will be in New Orleans, and then Super Bowl 60 is coming to San Francisco. Part of the deal is the 49ers are getting like $100 million to freshen the place up. Don't you always love like this stadium is what, 12 years old? Like they already need $200 million to freshen the place up. If only, right? If only. I wish all of us could do that. So Super Bowl 60 going to San Francisco. The other announcement was for 2025, and it's not to the level of hosting a Super Bowl, but as we've seen in recent years, it's kind of a big deal when you host the NFL draft. Kansas City did it last month. Detroit will have it in 2024. And the NFL has now announced that Green Bay, Wisconsin will get the NFL draft in 2020. Green Bay! Beautiful stadium. Now, I will admit, I've never been to Green Bay, but Green Bay is a small market. This will be fun. We'll see how they do it. I don't know if it's in the stadium or outside the stadium. My guess is that Green Bay doesn't have anything like Union Station in Kansas City. It's my guess. I could be totally wrong. But Green Bay gets the NFL draft. And I suppose that eventually we'll get to the point where the Super Bowl will go to like 5 spots and they'll just rotate. It'll be New Orleans, LA, San Francisco Bay Area. I don't know, I guess Miami. You can get, and then in Arizona. Those are like your 5 rotated spots. And then you may get a random one assigned every now and then, like an Indianapolis, a Minneapolis, a Seattle, and New York. Who knows? They may do that. But overall, it's going to be rotated between like 5 spots. The NFL draft, again, it's not the Super Bowl, but that's how you get the other places involved. That's how you get Carolina, how you get Green Bay, how you get Indianapolis again, or Denver. I don't know. That's how you get. So both things awarded yesterday. We know the next 2 drafts, Detroit and Green Bay. Still going to be chilly, right? In late April, I would think, up there. Maybe not. And Super Bowl going to San Francisco, Super Bowl number 60. Okay, those are the 5 things that matter. When we return here on the Better Sports Network, we will give you 5 things that will matter for tonight. First, though, our man Corey Parson. Let's flip it over to him to talk about LBJ.
Let me start off by saying shout out to the Denver Nuggets for winning their first ever Western Conference Championship. Now the spotlight was stolen as LeBron James insinuated that he could be retiring this offseason, ending the career of the GOAT basketball player, 20 years of LeBron James. But let me tell y'all something. LeBron James is not retiring. Celebrity athletes just don't walk away. Celebrity athletes like to get their flowers. They like to go on retirement tours. So surely one of those seasons will be coming up for James soon. But this right here, this retirement talk is all cap. Really what LeBron is looking for is for the Los Angeles Lakers to improve the roster. Now, earlier today, we heard the Lakers say that, reports say that the Lakers could be going after Trae Young. That could do the trick, but we all know who James really wants to join him in LA. His running mate from the Cleveland Cavaliers, his guy Kyrie Irving. Now, that could be a dangerous proposition for Laker fans, but you know what? It could put you back in the NBA Finals with a chance for LeBron to win another one. So the Laker organization and LeBron James have some decisions to make this offseason, but I will guarantee you one thing. LeBron will be back in purple and gold for at least one more year. Curious of your thoughts? Leave them in the comments. While you're down there in the comments section, check out a special offer from our friends at Fantasy Alarm.
Welcome back to the 5-Pack. Next up, the 5 things that will matter. Here's Kyle Elfrink.
Good to have you back with us on this Tuesday. Couple of things I want to remind you about. Coming up today at 2 o'clock Eastern, Britt Flynn is back with another edition of Her Story in the Making. She will be joined by the one and only Lisa Ann. So Britt and Lisa, both of them can talk about succeeding as women in this fantasy football field. You can catch that on our YouTube channels as well as BSN here. Fantasy Alarm YouTube channel, Better Sports Network. We got YouTube channels now. So check it out. Her Story in the Making, Britt Flynn and Lisa Ann. That's at 2 o'clock Eastern later today. And another thing to keep in mind is that we are teaming up with Underdog Fantasy. Right now, if you go to fantasyalarm.com/underdog, you can get a $100 deposit match from Underdog Fantasy. And of course, they are huge with the best ball world. So if you want to get involved with best ball, Underdog Fantasy, probably your best place to go. Check it out. And again, get that match deposit on all things that they do. fantasyalarm.com/underdog. And the promo code, don't forget that, Kyle, the promo code to take advantage of that deposit match is Fantasy Alarm. Fantasy Alarm, all one word, and that'll get you the deposit match at Underdog Fantasy. Coming up in a bit, our pack rip will take us back to 1990, take us back to year number 2 of Score Football Trading Cards. Let's see, the special, what do we got here? Special Young Superstars Glossy Set. Oh, that's just an offer. What do I got to do to get that? I'll have to check that during the break. It looks like I got to do a lot. Oh, and we got to run through the young superstars back in 19. These are some good names, really good names. So we'll do that coming up in about 10 minutes time. Until then, it is time for 5 things that will matter. And we told you earlier about the Nuggets dispatching the LA Lakers, and now Denver awaits. Who will they be playing? in the NBA Finals, which begin next week? Well, we might find out tonight. Because tonight we have the Miami Heat hosting the Boston Celtics. And as we all know, Miami currently up 3-0 on the Celtics. It ain't going good for the Boston Celtics. Wasn't all that good, really, in the last round. I think it's gotten worse in this round for Jason Tatum and the crew. Tonight, they will get going at 8:30. You can catch it on TNT. Right now, the Heat are favored by 1.5 tonight. They've won the first 3 games by 7, by 6, and by 26. At 26, of course, was game 3 when the Heat just came out and bulldozed the Boston Celtics. Now, again, we ran through this number last night. I guess with LA being eliminated last night, we're up to like 100, what is it, like 111 times in the conference finals, or maybe it's not that many, whatever it is. We've never had a team come back from a 3-0 deficit. So, newsflash, it ain't going to happen for the Celtics. That doesn't mean they can't win tonight. They could win tonight. If they are going to win tonight, though, they got to change some things. Here is Malcolm Brogdon talking yesterday about what have been the struggles for the Celtics in these 3 games against the Heat.
I mean, it's definitely concerning. I think we've taken a few steps back. I think in these playoffs overall, I think it's showing because we're playing a very disciplined, consistent, well-coached team. But I think in the Atlanta series, I think in the Philly series, I think we got away with things that now are biting us. So, that's definitely troubling.
What do you think of some of those things? Yeah. What she said.
I think it's mainly on the defensive end. We haven't been consistently great defensively all year long, and that was the team's identity last year. I think that slipped away from us. We've had spurts where we've been great defensively, but not consistently. And honestly, we've struggled in every series we've played. So, now we're playing a team that's playing, as if they're the best team in the league, and they're just incredibly disciplined, incredibly consistent. And I think we've struggled with teams that, are consistent on a, possession-by-possession basis every night.
Very fair and very blunt talk from Malcolm Brogdon on the eve of game number 4 again tonight on TNT. And defensively, that has been the issue. If you watch that game 3, the defensive rotations were just slow for Boston. And they were so slow that you had all these other dudes. It wasn't like Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo going crazy. It was Duncan Robinson. It was Caleb Martin going crazy. So Boston's got issues. We'll see how they perform moving forward. But tonight, they are a 1.5-point dog. Not the worst thing to maybe think about Boston pulling off an upset. I guess it's an upset. 1.5 points is no kind of giant spread. Let us stay in the southeastern quadrant of the United States for our second thing that will matter. Tonight in Atlanta, it is game 2 of that 3-game series with the LA Dodgers. And tonight in Atlanta, we will get another major league debut. It's another Miller, by the way. We've had Mason Miller debut for Oakland this year. Bryce Miller debut for Seattle this year. And tonight, the LA Dodgers will unveil Bobby Miller. He's going to be making the start for the LA Dodgers. Has a tough matchup. He faces the Braves, who are probably the best hitting team, at least in the National League. Tampa, probably the best overall. But Atlanta, number 2, number 3 in terms of their offense. And he's also going to be against Spencer Strider, who is pitching very, very well this year. So you got Bobby Miller against Spencer Strider. Last night, by the way, was a fun one. It was like October playoff baseball in the month of May. Dodgers survived for an 8-6 victory, but there was a lot of intensity, as there should be, between these two teams, the Braves and the Dodgers. Now, as for Miller, I don't know if he's ready. Like even Dave Roberts said yesterday, they didn't really want Miller up on the big league team here in the month of May, but because of all the injuries they had, they were just running out of arms, so they had to call him up. He's a big dude. He's their best pitching prospect. No one really doubts that. He can hit 100 on the radar gun. He's got a 4-pitch arsenal. In spring, he did have some shoulder issues, but it appears that he's mostly overcome those at AAA. Tonight, I wouldn't expect, 6-7 innings. He's probably going to be 4.5 innings. Last night, Gavin Stone, another high-end pitching prospect for the Dodgers, didn't last very long. Shouldn't be expected. Again, he's facing the Braves. He's not maybe to the level of Miller. So we'll see tonight. Miller, though, has talked about the fact that, hey, getting here is one thing. Getting into the major leagues, making your debut tonight, that's exciting, but it's certainly not the end goal for him.
The hardest part is staying there. I mean, everybody wants to be a contributor to the team, pitch in the playoffs. I mean, I want to pitch in the World Series one day, and I want to do a really good job at it and be a contributor to the team. I mean, yeah, it's everyone that wants to be great. So, I mean, I'm going to go out there and make it happen.
Bobby Miller there talking, getting ready for a start. I mentioned the effort against Strider. This is a tough matchup for him, tough matchup for the Dodgers. 7:20 tonight. Should note that game will have national TV coverage. Bravo Baseball. Tuesday Night Baseball on TBS. A lot of people probably don't even know that TBS has national. They do. They got a broadcast Tuesday night. Should be a fun one this evening. Dodgers taking on the Braves. Let us move to our third item that matters. And I was thinking about this yesterday. You know, I signed off on the 5-pack and I kind of mocked the Oakland A's again. And I said, you know what? That's an easy target, Kyle. Everybody's mocking the A's. And you know, let's stop picking on the A's. So today I said, I'm going to come clean. Let's pick on the Kansas City Royals, who honestly, as absolutely horrid as the A's are, which, hey, kudos to the A's. They won did they win last night? They got their 10th victory. They did not win last night, but they are up to 10 wins. The Kansas City Royals are not that much better than the Oakland A's. Now, the Royals did lose last night, 8-6 or 8-5 in 10 innings against Detroit. Kansas City is now 14-35. And remember, the difference between the Royals and the A's is that we all knew the A's were going to suck. And the A's told us they were going to suck. Like, they got rid of everybody. The Royals, on the other hand, are trying to win games. They're trying. But guess what? They are on pace for 46 wins. 46. Now, Oakland's on pace for like 33. But again, they were waving the white flag back in March. Kansas City wasn't. Kansas City, you know, laugh all you want, but Kansas City was trying to finish like third in the AL Central. And, you know, Bobby Witt and MJ Melendez and Vinny Pasquantino and Brad Keller and Brady Singer, they were going to make strides this year, right? Well, they haven't. And by the way, they played Oakland 3 weeks ago in Kansas City, and they lost 2 of 3 to the A's. So the A's actually went 2-1 against Kansas City. At 20% of the A's wins this year are against Kansas City. If you want to go to a free game in August, by the way, Kansas City goes to Oakland. There's like a Wednesday afternoon game. What is that? August 23rd. Seriously, tickets will be free for that game. A Wednesday afternoon in August, the A's and the Royals. Literally, instead of saying, tonight's official attendance, all they're going to say is, today's official attendance is Lisa, Jonathan, Samantha, Jenny, and Bob. Thank you, all of you, to coming to tonight's baseball game. That's how they'll announce it now. Now, as for the Royals, the hitting has been bad. The pitching has been bad. Bobby Witt Jr. has been bad. Let's talk about Bobby Witt Jr. Here it is, year number 2. And yesterday we touched on Julio Rodriguez. His second year has been far below expectations. I don't want to say Witt Jr. has failed, but he has not made a move forward. And I think everybody was counting on that. You look at this, he still strikes out a ton, 46 whiffs in 48 games. He's hitting 221. He is getting on base at a 262 clip. See me shaking my head? No. You will drown with a 262 on base percentage. That is unfathomable. I said in the preseason with Bobby Witt Jr., it's like, dude, if he only gets to like a 320 on base percentage, this guy will rip up fantasy leagues everywhere. Well, I overestimate it. 260? And, you know, I talked the fantasy game. Okay, he's hitting 221. That sucks. He's got 7 homers, 19 ribbies, 29 runs. He's got 13 steals. he's not doing what you drafted him to do, but you're okay with it. But overall, a big failure here with Bobby Witt Jr. And last year he got off to a rough start. Maybe he'll figure it out. I would suspect he will. He'll be better moving forward. But a really rough start for him. Tonight, the Royals, again, with their 14-35 record, taking on Eduardo Rodriguez and the Tigers. Rodriguez has been one of the hottest pitchers in baseball. It's going to be Daniel Lynch on the other side for the Royals. And, Kansas City's been kind of rebuilding for 5-6 years now. Part of the reason the rebuild has not worked is Daniel Lynch. He was a first-round pick in 2018. He has made 42 starts, about 200 innings. In those 42 starts, he has 8-19, and his ERA is 5.32. So that was a guy that by this time, 5 years after you drafted him, he was a college guy. By this point, you thought he'd be a number 2, number 3 starter. Tonight, he's making his season debut, and he's been pitiful. He's like a number 5 starter, so we'll see. But Daniel Lynch is on the hill for the Royals. What time? 7:40 Eastern is the start there against Detroit. For items number 4 and 5 of What Will Matter, we'll give you some football. After all, we're going to be doing a pack rip of football coming up in a bit. Item number 4, OTAs. I mentioned yesterday we had 20 teams open up OTAs. Today we've got 10 more, and one of them is the Denver Broncos. A lot of people wondering, can the Denver Broncos figure out Russell Wilson? They gave up a lot of assets. They gave up a lot of money for Russell Wilson last year, and the first year was an abject failure. Now they're bringing in Sean Payton. Smiling Sean Payton to team up with Russell Wilson. And literally, it's kind of a do-or-die season. Is that fair? I don't know. I mean, Russell Wilson got a huge contract. He's not very easy to get away from with the money he's making. But beginning today with OTAs, and again, this is nothing but 7-7. There's no tackling, no pads. But you do begin to install your offensive game plan. You got everybody collecting. Yes, Russell Wilson has looked at the playbook. But now you get Jerry Jeudy, Courtland Sutton, you get Williams, you get all these guys together. Let's figure this out. Let's do some studying, man. Let's hit the books. That begins this week in OTAs with Sean Payton, brand new staff, and Russell Wilson trying to figure this thing out. Now, when Payton was hired, almost all the questions were about saving Russell Wilson, saving Russell Wilson. Channel 9, which is the local NBC affiliate out of Denver, they had a chance to sit down with Sean Payton, and one of the topics they broached was the fact that Russell Wilson last year, in effect, had his own QB coach, had a guy who hung out in the Broncos offices to be a buddy and a coach with Russell, not the official QB coach. This is like a Russell Wilson personal coach. And Sean Payton was asked about that setup from last year and if he'd allow it this year.
Familiar with that relative to what we're going to do. I'm going to hire the coaching staff. There's going to be a certain method of how we practice and how we prepare. And so what was done prior, obviously, some of it unique or maybe some of it very common, is of no importance to me. Certainly we're not going to have private individuals out there coaching. Right. If they're on our staff, they'll be out there.
NBC Channel 9 out of Denver with that footage from a couple of months back when Sean Payton was hired. So the OTAs start today. Thought it was worth mentioning the futures odds. These are all courtesy of our friends at DraftKings. Over-under for wins this year with the Broncos is 8.5. I'm actually feeling the over here. And I am not like a Sean Payton fan. I actually think Sean Payton's a little overrated, but I'm feeling the over here. It's going to be better. Plus 200 to make the playoffs. I don't mind that bet, but I need better odds. Plus 200 is not necessarily going to push me there. Minus 110 for a winning record. I wouldn't touch that. How about this one? Most passing yards in the NFL. Russell Wilson is 13th on the list, plus 2,500. I don't know if anybody's thinking that kind of leap under Sean Payton. Here's one you might be interested in. How about comeback player of the year? Couldn't you see it? Russell Wilson's so bad in year one. Sean Payton gets there, works things out, new offense. He's the QB whisperer. Comeback player of the year for Russell Wilson. Right now, plus 2,000 for Russell Wilson. Now, that is actually third on the list, or even actually tied for second on the list. Tua Tagovailoa in Miami is also plus 2,000 for comeback player of the year. Guess who's number one? And he's number one with a bullet. Nobody's close to him. Damar Hamlin. I get it. I totally get it. Now, again, if he's on the field and he's going to win it. Minus 650. But is it to that level? Is it minus 650? If Russell Wilson comes out and goes 11-6, or Tua goes 12-5, these guys have big years. They make the All-Pro game, whatever. Wouldn't you give them a shot at it? Now, again, not taking anything from Damar Hamlin. Nobody's ever done what he's trying to do. Get back on the football field after literally passing away on the football field. It's amazing. He'll probably win it, which is why he's minus 650. But plus 2,000 for Russell Wilson? Yeah, why not? Finally, in the world of football, I told you earlier, mark your calendar, Super Bowl 60 in San Francisco, 2025 NFL draft in Green Bay. You can lock those down. Here's something you can't lock down. Thursday night football. Can't lock down Thursday night football. The NFL yesterday coming out and saying that this season for weeks 13 through 17, the NFL may flex Thursday night football. Look at all these faces here. This is the face of everybody, every single player, when they hear they have to play a Thursday night game. Right? I really wish this graphic would have had Roger Goodell smiling like a Cheshire cat in the middle, but he's not. But those players, that's the actual response from players when they say you got to play Thursday night. We all know what happened last year. Thursday night football was pretty crappy. I mean, like the worst games last year were all on Thursday night. We can sit here and argue the reasons, right? But now the NFL is saying that for the final 5 Thursday nights, 13 through 17, they will flex a max of 2 of them. Now, they will give you 28 days notice. That's always kind of been the hang up here. Changing a Thursday game to a Sunday game or a Sunday game to a Thursday game. What are the fans going to do? And I would suspect in the year 2023, they'll figure it out. But the NFL is going to give you 4 weeks heads up. Now, how about those games, weeks 13 to 17? And again, a max of 2 will be flexed. In week 13, we have Seattle at Dallas. I don't think that's going to be flexed. Week 14, New England at Pittsburgh. I don't see that getting flexed. Week 15, Chargers and Raiders could be, but I'm not. I'm looking at week 16 and 17. Those are the ones I'm thinking could be flexed. Week 16, the Saints at the Rams. I think both teams missed the playoffs this year. So I think that's going to be an ugly game. Week 17, the Jets at the Browns. That game could have enough playoff implications. Almost everybody makes the postseason. So the Jets and the Browns should still be alive. I think the only one I would feel good about saying that's going to get flexed is that Saints-Rams game in week 17. But they weren't allowed to do this last year. They're going to try it this year. Amazon, of course, doing the Thursday night football. Should note, last year, Amazon on the streaming side, Amazon Prime, about 4 million viewers per game. To put that in perspective, Monday Night Football, over 14 million per game. Amazon Prime, 4. And again, I think a lot of that's streaming more so than the matchup. And it should improve as people start to come in on the streaming a bit more. Those are your 5 things that will matter. A break for me, a break for us, and we come back with a 1990 Score Football Pack Rip coming your way next on BSN.
Hey, it's Rick Campbell for Better Sports Network. Will the Celtics season end tonight? It will. The Celtics let go of the rope in Game 3. Tonight in Game 4, they're going to go through the motions, and it's going to be another Miami win, and it might not be all that close. The Celtics were favored to win the first 3 games of this series, losing every time. They were favored to win Game 3 at Miami, down 0-2, which I didn't understand, and then they got blown out by 26 points. Miami has been a cover machine throughout these playoffs. That's going to continue despite the bettors in the books underestimating the Heat, okay? Miami is only a 2-point favorite for this game. That's a banger, folks. Miami's outscoring Boston 120-107 on average. They're dominating the three-point line. 48% for Miami, 29% for Boston. Jimmy Butler's will and aura and ego and swagger are just too much for Jason Tatum, who is ready for vacation. We want you to check out the comments below for a special offer from our friends at Fantasy LR.
Time now for the Daily Pack Rip on the 5-Pack with Kyle Elfrink.
Told you earlier about her story in the making coming your way today at 2 o'clock Eastern. Later tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern, the Tour Junkies, Pat Perry, David Barnett, they are back recapping all things from the PGA Championship and getting you set for another weekend of PGA fantasy golf. It is time for us to get a pack rip in here on the 5-Pack. Today, we are spotlighting for the first time on our little program here, 1990 Score Football. Doing this in honor of this week's OTAs. In fact, we've got some more football coming your way this week. That's right. We're breaking away from the baseball for a bit. 1990 Score Football, year number 2. Now, I told you they had this NFL Young Superstar set. Back in 1990, you would have to send in 5 wrappers and $5. You would also have to send in a 3x5 card, which listed your name and address so they could pick on you. And you would get 40 glossy player cards plus 5 trivia cards. Below is a partial list of players. Deion Sanders, Barry Sanders, Bobby Humphrey, Andre Bad Moon Rising. Check out that Flipper Anderson. Remember him with the LA Rams? Okay, let's rip open a pack of 1990 Score Football. Have some fun here. A lot of color on these cards. Tons of colors. Just like Score Baseball. Also, just like Score Baseball, we get, what is that? Super Bowl trivia. Ooh, groovy. What is our trivia? Who set the record for interceptions in a Super Bowl game? Chuck Howley, Rod Martin, Jake Scott, Randy Beverly. I don't even know who Randy Beverly is. I think that's B. Is it B, Rod Martin? What do we got here? B, Rod Martin. 3 interceptions in Super Bowl 15. I don't think that record's been broken. I don't think it has. So there you go. Trivia, courtesy of Score in 1990. I admit it's kind of hokey, but it's still cool. You know, I said this a few weeks ago. Nowadays, we don't educate anybody about the history of the sport. Back then, they did. Let us start with Kevin Ross of the Kansas City Chiefs. Check out the cards. Now, you'll notice this one blue at the top, blue at the bottom, green on the side. These differentiate just like Score was known for throughout the league. Now, another notable thing here, who did Kevin Ross play? He played for the Chiefs. To me, that helmet looks totally airbrushed. That may just be the angle I'm looking at it. But he played for the Chiefs in '89, so it's not. But there's Kevin Ross who, you know, some people would say, oh my God, you look tired. No, I'm lining up to stop the wide receiver. So Kevin Ross leads us off. Here's a big sack master. Richard Dent of the Chicago Bears. Man, just looks monstrous on this card. Another guy who had a couple of good years in the NFL, Pat Swilling, linebacker for the Saints. Back in the day, at about this era, the Saints had a trio of big-time linebackers, like guys who were just dominant. They were like built with a 4-3 defense. I'm trying to remember the other things, but they were strong. Man, are we starting all defense here? Todd McNair will break up the defensive run. He was a running back and kind of slash receiver with the Chiefs. Now, I will say one issue I've got with these cards, it does not say the position of the player. You got to go to the back for the position, which is fine, but yeah, got to go to the back there, which the backs are, nice. I don't need that big of a headshot. Are these all headshots? Yeah, they're all headshots. Tim Rosenbach. Who that? Tim Rosenbach, and that's Tim with 2 M's. I don't know if I've ever seen such a thing. Tim with 2 M's, who I believe, yeah, he was in the supplemental round. We used to get a lot more of the supplemental picks. This is back in the day when the Cardinals had no clue what they were drafting at quarterback. Like, they didn't have a quarterback for like 15 years. And Tim Rosenbach was one of those failures. Randall McDaniel. He was a great defensive lineman. Excellent defensive lineman for the Minnesota Vikings. Working on the D-line. It's kind of a funny photo. Tom Benson with a random foot that is flying in his way. Tom Benson of, at the time, the Los Angeles Raiders. You can see their outside linebacker. Now, here is a player who literally, I know him for one thing. Oh, thank you, Better Boss. Pat Swilling, Ricky Jackson, Sam Mills, and Vaughn Johnson. I would have never gotten Vaughn Johnson. Sam Mills, Ricky Jackson. Those were two big ones. Now, here's a player, if you don't recall, I think it was in, I want to say the 86, probably the 86-87 season. This player notoriously picked up Jim McMahon and threw him to the turf. And we talk about late hits nowadays and how the officials protect the quarterbacks. And we always have this controversy. Oh, the guy got knocked down 2 seconds after he lit the ball. I invite you to go on YouTube and look up this guy, Tim Harris, for throwing down Jim McMahon. I think it was Tim. I sure hope it was Tim Harris. Was it Tim Harris? I think it was. Tim Harris, one of the latest hits you will ever see on a quarterback. He literally picked up Jim McMahon and slammed him to the AstroTurf. Was a pretty good sack guy, but that is the highlight that forever kind of remember, that I remember here, Tim Harris. And then, man, back in the day, these big shoulder pads. Wow, they made them big in the day. Continuing our run through 1990 score football and continuing our run of giant shoulder pads. David Little. They're not talking about the shoulder pads, and they're not talking about David Little, who stood 6'1", 230 pounds. Now, I will tell you, our 1990 score football pack is going very heavy on the linebackers. David Little of the Steelers, Tim Harris of the Packers, Tom Benson of the Raiders, and some random foot, and then Pat Swilling of the Saints. And we're only about halfway through. Now, here is a guy that even if you know nothing about football in 1990, you're going to recognize this name because you see him on TV each and every Sunday. Howie Long made the Hall of Fame as a defender. Great defensive lineman for the Raiders. I always feel bad for Howie because to me, he is the only guy on the Fox pregame show who takes his job seriously. And I mean that in all truth. Michael Strahan, hell no. The guy's lousy, in fact. Bradshaw, older than dirt. Sorry, Tony. Jimmy Johnson. What, he hang out on his boat and fly into LA? I mean, I'm sorry. Pregame show's a joke. It's terrible. But this guy actually cares about his job. He's easily the best part of that pregame show. Okay, now I'm going to have to go through the memory banks here. Donald, I think it was Igwebuike. Donald Igwebuike. And yes, kickers got cards back in the day. Look at number 1, Donald Igwebuike. And look, he was card number 99 at the top. Donald Igwebuike. Still say, man, score, you just made it too small. I can barely read these things. Just small. Legend of the 80s, Roger Craig. This guy's a stud. Look up Roger Craig's numbers, kids. Great rushing receiver, running back. Muhammad Elawanube, a rookie with the Indianapolis Colts. Didn't become anything in 1990 or beyond. Here's Rodney Peete, who I always remember. Rodney Peete was a USC quarterback when Aikman was at UCLA. Rodney Peete was also married to the girl off Hanging with Mr. Cooper. Holly Robinson Peete, was that her name? Rodney Peete was a good guy. Boy, here's a nut, man. We're ending with an absolute bang. Reggie White, NFL free agent. This was the guy, man. He was the first big free agent. Legend of the defensive line. A very good receiver from the Denver Broncos, Dan Thompson. Love that card, too. Catch you tomorrow. More packs and more events on the 5-pack.